Hey all, this is Mr. Hammond, and in this video we are going to look at some Chromebook tools that make sense. This is something we discussed in a recent Appy Hour at our school. If you like this slideshow along with the GIFs and the videos that go along with it, you can scan the QR code on the screen, or if you're in front of your computer, you can always enter the bit.ly that you see on the screen. So I will start. The reason I named this Chromebook Tools That Make Sense is my personal experience, I was introduced to Chromebooks probably 5 or so years ago. And going from like a Windows and Apple machines to Chromebooks, there's some little nuances that I would say my experience was maybe a little bit of frustration at first, but once I figured out how to use them, actually made a lot of sense in a lot of ways, especially considering that Chromebooks are smaller tools. They're more available for students and just different things like that. So some of those tools I'm going to share with you in this video. So the first one of my favorites, one of the first ones I maybe think I had learned is this: hiding the URL bar and the shelf as well. So both the top and bottom, you can almost give yourself an extra 1.5 inch of space in the top and bottom if you use that little button in the top row where the arrow is pointing up to the left and down to the right. I'm not sure exactly what the name of it is, but it looks just like what you see on the screen there. And you can add uh, an extra 1.5 up to extra 1.5 inch. I guess it depends on the size of your screen. The second one is more of a preference thing. I like to have my shelf on the bottom of the screen, but I could see where some people would like to have it either on the left or right, um, for easy access. So if you right click anywhere on your shelf, it will give you the option to move your shelf. It even gives you the option to auto hide the shelf. However, we took care of that in the first tip that I shared with you. The third one here, this is a really valuable tool as well, is pinning apps to your shelf. So if you navigate to your all of your apps. So using this little circle right here on your Chromebook, that can take you to every single app you have. Clicking on that little arrow, as you can see, I'm doing in my GIF. And if you right click or double click with the two fingers, you can see the option to pin to shelf, and that would make that app now show up on your shelf no matter if you are using it or not. So that makes things just a little bit easier to get. The fourth one here, this is just a personal preference to me. One of the things that drove me nuts about Chromebooks initially, I feel like some of the Chromebooks had like this default feature: if you not accidentally, if you tap on the mouse pad, it would automatically click whatever link or wherever you're planning to go. Even thinking about going, if you're hovered over the link and you accidentally tap it, it will take you there. There's a way to turn that off. You just have to go to your settings, device settings, actually device, and then there's mouse and touchpad. And then you have all kinds of options there, and you want to disable that where it says enable tap to click. And there are some other options there that you can use for your mouse as well. So this fifth one, the next few, we're going to look at some camera tools. So this first one is scanning documents. So you can actually use the camera tool to scan documents. As you can see there, I'm holding up a paper, and it kind of frames off. It does catch some of my fingers, that's not a huge deal, especially if I'm just turning in a paper to grade. You can automatically share it to Classroom, and you can also save it as a PDF or a photo, as you can see there. This next one, so with the camera tool, again, when you select scan, there's an option to scan a document or a QR code. So as you can see here in the picture, I scanned a QR code. It provides that link, and then I can select that link on the screen. So you can scan QR codes with the camera that is in your Chromebook. Okay, so after you are done using the camera tool, so let's say you're maybe scan or taking a picture, you can actually go back to that picture and edit it. Let's say I take a picture of myself, I can edit that picture. I can add annotations, or I can draw a face on myself, or I could draw over it, whatever it might be. I can do that using the camera tools. I would just need to go to Files, and I can go to Camera, and you'll see in all the images that you have there. I'll select an image just real quick, and you can see I've edited this picture before, but there's a lot of editing options here. There's a cropping tool. There is a writing tool that you see there, the little squigglies, allows me to write over top of this picture. So that is just a little extra something that you can do with that camera feature. So the next thing, this is something that Chromebooks have added recently, is called the screen capture feature. So this allows you to not only take pictures of your screen or specific pieces of the screen, which we've been able to do before, but it allows you to take video of specific parts of the screen. So you can actually use screen capture. If you go down to your shelf and the options there, you see screen capture. So if I wanted to capture just a particular part of the screen here, if I let's say we'll focus on this particular video. Notice I can frame this off, and then if I click capture, right now it's going to take a picture. Notice there's a camera there, but I do have an option to take video as well. So I can record the entire screen, a specific part of the screen, or a window. There are some other settings there that I would recommend you take a look at just to see if there's anything there that fits what you are looking for. If we record real quick, we'll see. Let's see if that does that. So it counts down. Once I'm done with that, you'll see that down here in my tray, the recording button. I can click on that. It's going to stop the recording, and that is saved in my files. So that is the screen capture tool. The next thing we're looking at are the accessibility options. So accessibility options, there's actually a lot of them. We're going to go through a few of what I feel like are maybe the more valuable ones. However, you could go through there. There's probably 20 plus accessibility options, and you might have a different top 10 than what I have. So to turn on the accessibility options, you can go to the settings menu, and you could type in the search bar accessibility options, or you can go to the advanced as you see here, and there's accessibility. And then notice how I have the blue radio button. I want that to be on because that's going to allow me to access those accessibility options from the main start menu or that shelf button. Notice that they are there now. So if I go down to my menu, I can see all of my accessibility options there. So I can turn them on or off right from there without having to go to the settings. So the ones I am going to talk about are the Chromevox feature, select to speak, dictation, magnifier, a couple magnifiers actually, cursor size, highlighting the text caret, and then highlighting the mouse cursor. So this first one, Chromevox, the way it works is this is for more of maybe a visual, someone that is visually impaired, and maybe they are having trouble locating the mouse, or maybe even seeing the screen in general. Maybe they can just see a fuzzy image of it. It will tell you where the mouse is on the screen. So and you can watch this video here as well, but it doesn't actually read anything to you. It just tells you where you're at on the screen. So if I'm in the shelf or system tray, it's going to say shelf or system tray. If I'm in the URL browser, it's going to say something to that effect. If I'm looking at the links here or the shortcuts, it's going to tell me I'm looking at the shortcuts. So again, if you want more information, you can always watch that video. The second one is the select to speak. So what this allows me to do is anything I select, it's going to speak back to me. So notice I have the select to speak on, since it has a blue check mark. So all I need to do Notice it's down here in the system tray or that shelf. I just need to click on that to turn it on. And then I come over to whatever words I want it to read, frame them off, and it will play. And it gives me the play options there as well. So I can change the speed of it. I can fast forward. Even when it's done with what I have framed off, it will pause. But if I click play again after that, it will just continue from where it left off to what's beyond that text. So that's a great feature for students as well. So let me go ahead and turn that. Actually, it's already off. You can see from there. So that's select to speak. This next one is dictation. So what the dictation tool does, and you can see this is on. If I go to the accessibility options, see the dictation tool is on. So I can also see that dictation tool right here, that microphone is what that is used for. So as soon as I click on that, as I speak, it's going to type out whatever I'm saying. So if I go to let's say a Google Doc, if I go to a Google Form, as you see in the video there, or wherever there's a text field, I just select, make sure my cursor is in a text field, click on that and start talking. And then when I'm done with it, I would scroll back down to that and turn it back off. But if you want more details on that and what it looks like, you can always watch this little quick video too. So the next tool, actually tools, there are a couple magnifier tools that you can use. One is the full screen magnifier. So what it does essentially is if you click on full screen magnifier, it just magnifies a particular part of the screen, and as you scroll your mouse around the screen, it's going to show you those various parts of the screen. And then you also have what's called the docked magnifier. That kind of splits the screen into two pieces. And then the top part is the magnified portion. The bottom part is what you want to be magnified, as seen in that gift right there. The next one is the cursor size. So if you would like to change the cursor size or make that a little bit bigger, there's the option to make a large mouse cursor right there. So within the accessibility option. Another one I think can be kind of valuable is the highlight text caret. So what this does is it just highlights wherever you are typing. So if I am doing a Google search, as I'm typing, notice there's a blue circle highlighting where I'm typing. So that could be handy, especially if you're not sure where your cursor is on the page, or maybe somehow it got moved and you need to move it back. So that's what that feature allows you to do. And then finally, this last one, the highlight mouse cursor. This one's probably one of my favorites because sometimes it's just kind of hard to keep track of the mouse on the page. But as soon as you start moving the mouse, notice that it has that red circle. So I can kind of follow that red circle around the page. All right, so that's it for the accessibility option. So this one's kind of handy, especially if you are using your Chromebook to present. You can turn off your notifications. So one way you can do that is by going to the settings, and you can turn off notifications from there. The other option is you can actually go to your system tray, and notice I have notifications there. If you select the arrow next to that, you can turn it on do not disturb mode, so you're not getting any notifications. But if you do not have that on, you can also choose from the things that currently do or do not have the ability to send you those mini notifications there. So you can do that from there as well. Another thing that you can do is you can add apps to your Chromebook, kind of like you do with your phone. Now, if you are using this under a school domain, you probably only have a limited amount. You may not have any if your administrator has not allowed you to do that. So you might need to approach them and see if they can add those to your available download list. So you can see that we do have some, but we have a limited supply as well. You can just select from any of those and install. The reason you might want to do this, for example, is Google Classroom until recently had some special features on the app version that they did not have on the web-based version. So sometimes you'll see some additional features through those apps in the Google Play Store that you won't see on the web versions of some applications. All right, so there are a lot of these as I'm coming to find out, but there's a few that I have used quite frequently. The first one is this two finger swipe. You can actually swipe to the left or the right to go forward or back a page. So if you decided that you know what, I didn't mean to go to this page or this web page, I want to go back to the page that I was previously on, I can swipe to the left. If I want to go forward a page, I can swipe to the right with the two fingers. Here's another one that's kind of interesting. You can actually use the Chromebook to almost have two, three, four different Chromebooks in front of you. So what that means is you're essentially have more than one desktop. So if you swipe the fingers up, notice that I have not only one, but I have two, and I even have the option to add a third desktop. I'm not sure what the limit is, but it's essentially like you have two computers in front of you. So you could use one of the desktops for your presentation, and maybe the other desktop is what you use to check your email. So you want to make sure that you keep those separate so you don't share sensitive information. This is a way to do that. So I'm going to share some other shortcuts as well, but this actually gives you all the shortcuts. So everyone kind of has their favorite shortcuts that they use most often. This will give you all the shortcuts that are available on the Chromebook. So Control, Alt, question mark, or backslash. So the lock screen shortcut, this is really easy. So just the search and the L, that just locks the screen. So if you're maybe leaving a room, you don't want anyone to have access to your computer while you're gone, you push that search and L, and then when you come back in the room, you can enter your password and you're back to where you left off. Split screen. So this could be great for students. I know some teachers have the ability to connect their Chromebooks to a second, maybe even a third window, but most of the time students don't have that advantage. So that alt plus that special caret parentheses or whatever that allows you to split your screen into two, and it automatically will snap it to the left or the right of your screen, and then you can drag another tab to the empty portion. So that's all I have for this video. So to again, if you would like these slides, you can always scan that QR code or enter that bit.ly below. Hopefully that's something that you found helpful. If you have any questions, please let me know. Thanks.